Okay, so we can start our program, and I would like to invite Zainab to come and introduce me here. Come, Zainab.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zainab Lakhani, and I am honored to introduce our guest speaker today. Mayor David Marr has lifelong ties to our community, and his service in Cambridge stretches back 2 generations. He has served on the City Council and the School Committee and currently chairs both. Besides his extensive municipal government experience, Mayor Marr also supports local nonprofits, as well as our community's children with the Innovation Agenda. The Innovation Agenda is a rigorous academic program geared at all students. Another very important service to our community during his mayorship is the declaration of Eid as an official holiday in Cambridge. This, as well as the arrangement of today's Eid celebration event, this is the 2nd year now, has made the Muslim community feel welcome here, and we thank him for that. Please join me in welcoming Mayor David Marr.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. And I was just telling somebody this story. I think that Cambridge is one of the best cities, not only in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but in the country. And I hope that you all agree that this is a welcoming community for all of our residents. I was just telling a little story that I was at an event about a week ago, and it was across the street at the Senior Center. It's a community-wide building across the street where senior programming occurs. But there was an event there for the Community Learning Center. Does anybody here know what the Community Learning Center is? The community, we have somebody here who knows what the Community Learning Center is. The Community Learning Center is a place where people, immigrants from around the world who come to Cambridge can gather and can learn English, or they can study for their citizenship in Cambridge. And I walked into this room, and there were 300 people. And I looked around and just looked at the cross-section of people. Different ethnicities, different religions, different places around the world that they came from. And I have to tell you that I was so proud that night to be the mayor of this fine city, because this is a city that values each and every one of our residents. And so to celebrate, we have a tendency, we have many celebrations here at City Hall. We had one in October where we celebrated Italian heritage. So to be able to come here in November and celebrate Muslim heritage in our city is a fine, fine thing to do. So I want to just welcome all of you tonight as we celebrate Muslim heritage and the impact that the Muslim community and the growing Muslim community has in Cambridge. So, you know, I think that we are a very proud people here in Cambridge that like to be able to celebrate. You hear this word an awful lot in Cambridge, diversity. And diversity means different things to different people. But to me, it means exactly what we're doing here tonight. It's to celebrate the differences that we have, to celebrate where people are from, the differences that people bring to this community, and the richness that people bring to this community. So I want to welcome you and say that it is a privilege and an honor for me to be able to open the doors of City Hall. Last night, I was sitting right here and chairing the school committee meeting, and we had 3 young Muslim students from Cambridge Ridge and Latin that came before us last night with about probably 25 people that were showing their support for those kids. And what they talked about is what it meant to them for the first time to be able to celebrate Eid, and what it meant for them to be able to show their friends and tell their friends what it was like to be Muslim in this community. And I think that along with school committee member Mark McGovern, who was very instrumental in having the holiday brought to Cambridge, you know, it was a very proud time for us to be able to sit here with these young Muslim students to be able to talk about what it meant to them to be Muslim in Cambridge. And I think that was a very proud moment for me and a proud moment for them, and I know it was a proud moment for their families. There were a few people here tonight, I think, that were here last night as we heard firsthand from those students. So I'm not going to go on. I just want to thank you all for being here, to tell you that we should be very proud in this community, and let us continue to open doors for all people in this community. So with that, I thank you, and let's have a fun night and celebrate tonight. Thank you.
Now I'm inviting Mark McGowan, who's instrumental for making this Eid as a holiday. Mark, please.
Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. I'll be brief. I wouldn't be doing justice if I didn't thank the students at Cambridge Ridge and Latin. Approximately 2 years ago or so, I was contacted by a group of students of various backgrounds and faiths, as well as representatives from the Cambridge Human Rights Commission, about their concerns about Muslim students at our high school feeling disenfranchised or not feeling a total part of the community. And one of the things that they spoke about was the fact that the Cambridge Public Schools close on a Christian holiday and a Jewish holiday, but not a Muslim holiday. And that Muslim students, unlike their Christian and Jewish peers, had to choose whether or not to stay home with their family and celebrate Eid or go to school. And so they invited me as a school committee member to come and listen to them and to work with them. And that resulted in many months of meetings and work to the point that I sponsored and unanimously passed by the school committee a motion to close school on the Eid holiday so that Muslim students will be equal to their peers at Ridge and Latin and will no longer have to make that choice between school and family on that one day. And that's something I was very proud to do, and as Mayor Marr said, once again, Cambridge is leading the way. And there were other communities in the country that did this, so we can't say that we were first, but we were the first community in Massachusetts. And I have to say that the support from the Cambridge community for doing this was incredible. And it was just really wonderful, and support from the Muslim community, but really from various communities in Cambridge. And although some of the folks in other parts of the country gave us a little bit of a hard time about it, I actually am proud of that. Because if some of those, judging by some of the telephone calls and the emails of people who had issue with what we did, I am very honored to be on the other side of the issue from them, because frankly, I did not find those folks to be terribly welcoming and supportive. And I'm proud to have grown up here. I'm proud to be from here. I'm proud to represent this community, and I thank all of you, and we will continue. This is not the end. Problems don't go away with a holiday on a calendar. So we have a lot more to do, and you have my commitment to continue to do the work for you and for all of us. So thank you very much.
So maybe inshallah next year, October 26th, 2012, all the public schools will be closed in Cambridge. I have to provide this information to the superintendent. Okay, without further delay, and before I forget, I'd like to recognize someone who is very dear to me and is more like my nephew, Joseph Bruce. Joseph, get up. Get up. So now I'm inviting someone who's also just like my niece, and her name is Zaina. So Zaina will come and give us a few thoughts about this Eid program.
Good night, everyone. I am honored to be with all of you, and I would like to welcome all of you and welcome Mr. Mayor and Uncle Mushtaq, and thank you for the introduction. So I'm really honored when Uncle Mushtaq called me and he is like, I want you to talk about the Eid tradition in the Muslim countries or everywhere in the world around the Muslim community. And it just brought a lot of memories to me since this is actually my 12 years being resident in Cambridge, and I always, in the day of Eid, I have so many memories about it, and then this year I got to enjoy it with everybody and then enjoy the day of school. But talking about, the Eid, so the Eid al-Adha, which is the meaning for it, is the feast of sacrifice. And it's a religious holiday for Muslims that celebrated worldwide in remembrance of the Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son, but then before God provided him with a sheep to sacrifice instead, just to give him that honor. And that tradition brought to the Muslim world, and now everybody everybody who can afford in the Muslim culture to sacrifice something or donate something like a sheep or fresh meat or anything. So it's a day about giving. It's a day about taking care of each other. And the day started with the prayer. So when people go to the prayer, they don't only go, do it at home. They go to a public place. They do it, they greet each other they haven't seen for the entire year. They get the chance to see everybody in that day. And it's just a day of celebration. It's just a day of, having the feeling of being in a community. And also a day when people give back to the community. So when they give money or they donate something to the poor people, it's just like to make them feel they are welcome, even they are not well off. And this is specific place, everybody is caring for them and would like to have them around and would like to take care of them. So the sacrifice is not only about the sheep. The sacrifice is also about the willingness of having to take the day of that day, and asking about the poor people in the community, and asking about who is in need in that day, and go and have some support for them. The other thing about this special day, which makes it special, I just read last night that around any Muslim place in the world, there must be a special dish for that day. For example, in India, they have to have a dessert, 2 types of dessert, one for kids and one for the adults. And where I grew up, we used to donate, for the poor people to donate fresh meat, and also we donate money for the kids, and the fresh meat is for the adult. So after that, I would like to thank you all for listening to me, and if you have any questions, otherwise I just want to thank you all.
Thank you, Sister Zaina. Now I'm going to invite somebody who was born in Cambridge, of course born in hospital, but of course in Cambridge, and grew up about, let's say, 500 feet from the place we are talking about. And so I'm inviting an attorney to come and forward to speak about the Cambridge, the Canterbury region.
500 feet from here. I want to thank Uncle Mushtaq for having me speak here. And I think Zainab covered, a good chunk of what Eid is all about and what it means to us here and the sense of community we get from it. But one thing I do want to talk about is it is the time of year that Muslims from all over the world make a pilgrimage to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. And it's not just like Cambridge, but it is quite diverse in the way that people from all over the world come to Mecca. And you see people from every nationality there. As on a more personal note, I was a former high school teacher here at Cambridge Rindge in Latin. I taught constitutional law here, and it really means a lot for the community and the schools, and especially the students, and from my perspective, the teachers, to be able to celebrate Eid with their families and not have to choose between taking the day off and celebrating with their families. So I really want to thank the City of Cambridge for making that possible. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Alia. Now I'm going to invite someone who is going to be a great poet in America. So I'm inviting my friend to come up here and recite some poetry.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And as you know, Assalamu alaikum means peace be upon you all in Arabic. And Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. I'd like to start by thanking you all for this opportunity that you have given me. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Uncle Mushtaq. And thank you, school community. Because of you, I especially had a free day that I got to enjoy, especially with my friends and family in Cambridge. And especially my little brother enjoyed it. He's in kindergarten, by the way. And, excuse me, I would like to start off by saying a couple of words. Eid al-Adha. In remembrance of our ancestors and our prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and also known as Abraham thus in English. What is Eid al-Adha? This is a simple term. Sacrifice, festival of sacrifice, sacrifice, feast of sacrifice. It is an essential part of our daily life from womb to demise. This poem that I wrote, I hope, will show some of my feelings toward Eid al-Adha. The angels stand witness to that glorious day, the day of eternal gratitude and remembrance, the day of faithful decisions and true judgment. The day of Eid al-Adha is celebrated for when Prophet Ibrahim, peace be forever upon him, also known as the Prophet Abraham, upon his God's command, prepared his firstborn son, the son that he begged his Lord for as sacrifice. But his God, the most merciful and gracious, wondrous and everywhere, instead told him to sacrifice a ram in the place of the son. So merciful was he, the Lord divine, and so loyal was Ibrahim. Eid al-Adha is a day that forever will remind us of this child Ibrahim. And the sacrifices that were made that day show us the fact that nothing is truly won or given without trust, daily life, because in order to get or give something, you have to sacrifice something, as I said before. I've also written something that might occur on a daily basis. Please don't worry though, it's not as long as the one before. Sacrifice. Mother sacrificed 9 months and we are here. Father sacrificed and we get experience. Teachers sacrifice and we get a good education. By the way, I have one too. Police forces sacrifice and we have safety, hopefully. Military sacrifice and we have freedom. Mayors sacrifice and we have a good city. Leaders sacrifice. We sacrifice for our future. Thank you everybody for listening and giving me an opportunity to say what I think about Eid al-Adha and sacrifice. Hopefully you understood what I was talking about. Once again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Brother Uncle Mustafa. And thank you, school committee, and for everybody who took the time to be here. Peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum. And another thing, as my mayor told me, I'm in 7th grade and I go to King Open.
Well, he took the words out of my mouth, something which I wanted to say. He said, well, I don't know how to get all the messages. I'm going to be inviting, and also before, sometime we always forget, so I have to make a few announcements. One announcement is this coming Saturday, we're going to have a job fair in New England, Boston Islamic Center, which is called the Wayland Mosque, and all of you are invited. This job fair is sponsored by the federal government, and if any one of you are US citizen and above 18, you are qualified to get a federal job. There are going to be exhibitions, there are going to be so many different openings are there. And I think, we need a diversity in our labor market, especially in the federal government, so please make sure to come. And I think I'm going to invite another gentleman. Okay, so another kid to come and speak. What's your name? Please introduce himself. Come.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad, and I'm going to talk about Eid al-Adha. So, basically at the end of the annual pilgrimage in Mecca, Muslims observe a holiday, a second holiday known as Eid al-Adha, or the festival of sacrifice. It is during this time that Muslims honor the strong faith of the Prophet, Ibrahim alayhi salam, considered by many to be the father of the monotheistic faith. Of the two major Islamic holidays, this is perceived to be the more important one, and is thus sometimes called Eid al-Fitr, the big festival. The Quran tells the story of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who was willing to sacrifice his son upon Allah's command. According to the Holy Quran, God substituted an animal in the place of Ibrahim's son and accepted Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his beloved son. Pilgrimage to Mecca is called Hajj. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And all Muslims, both those who attend the pilgrimage and those in the rest of the world, acknowledge the holiday by slaughtering an animal. The meat is then shared with family and friends in a large portion. At least a third of the meat is given away to the poor and less fortunate. To sum it all up, this is just a brief explanation of Eid al-Adha.
I hope I'm not missing anybody, but if anybody wants to come and speak for a minute or two, sure, most welcome to come, as long as it is secular. Anyone wants to come and speak? You want to come and speak?
many of you know, next week is Thanksgiving. For most of us, it is just that day we get off from school, or a day from work, and a day we have a great meal. Yet I wonder if many of us think past that. Currently, families have an opportunity to celebrate many holidays. We have Eid, Kwanzaa, Christmas, New Year's, and very importantly, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving Day, celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November, has officially been an annual tradition in the United States since 1863, when President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Day of Thanks to be celebrated. As a federal and popular holiday in the U.S., Thanksgiving is one of the big 6 major holidays of the year. The event that Americans commonly call Thanksgiving was first celebrated in 1863 to give thanks to God for guiding Europeans safely to America. The first Thanksgiving feast lasted 3 days, providing enough food for 13 pilgrims and 90 Native Americans. But I can't stress enough that Thanksgiving is not only a holiday. It's really that recognition of the fact that you have a family and a home. Many people in this world don't have that. As a personal example, I was sitting in my English class and was told to write a short essay on something that made you feel like the luckiest person. Kids wrote about getting their first iPhone, and some wrote about meeting a seal for the first time. But as I sat there thinking, I realized I had something money can't buy. I had a family. Sometimes the kids I'm around don't always value the family and shelter they have. They'd rather be at the mall with their friends, and truly, which teenager wouldn't? My mom always says, I'm not just here for room and board. Basically, big gifts don't always come in big boxes. We live in a country that gives us freedom of speech and the freedom to vote. Let's value it. Have you ever been thankful that you have a bed to lay our heads down at night and dinner on the table? I bet each of us have heard these lines but haven't valued them as much as we could. At least 80% of humanity lives on less than $10 a day. Half of the world, nearly 3 billion people, live on less than $2 a day. The fact that most of us have jobs that make more than that in an hour proves that you can help the other 80% of the world we live in. According to GlobalIssues.com, if people stopped smoking in Europe and used those funds, we'd be able to give everyone water, education, and basic health. We as Americans need to realize we live in a country where we have a tremendous amount of resources and the capacity to change a lot for people that live in developing countries or just around our block. Let's stop thinking about what we want. As we go to sleep tonight and for the rest of our life, remember what we already have. Thank you for your time, and have a great night.
I'm so proud of these kids because they just grew up in my presence, and they are taking all the words out of my mouth because this is something which I wanted to say. Yeah, I'm actually working right now to have a fundraising for the Water for the People, and probably it is going to be taking place in the Museum of, actually it is going to be an aquarium, and what we do, we sponsor and ask some other people to give us money. We raise about $100,000, and this is under the auspice of the Water Environment, New England Water Environment Association, Water for People. And then whatever the money which we have, we give it to, we go and our young engineers go to the third world countries and they build the water projects. And I think something improvement which we really want to do, that once we build the project, and the major problem is maintenance, because people just break it and there's nobody to fix it. And so there are going to be some different policy changes, and very much into that, so we had a conference call this morning. And also, as you know, that I encourage many of the Muslims who are here, that there are many Muslims, there are many Americans who are homeless people, so spare some time and work in a homeless shelter. I have worked for 10 years every Friday, volunteered myself to the Lutheran Church in the Harvard Square. And you know guys who I met there? Barack Hussein Obama, many years ago. So that is really surprising. There are so many people you can meet there. There are many Harvard, actually it is started by the Harvard student, Lutheran Church. And I consider this city to be my city because I spent more than 60% of my life in Cambridge. And I always love, and I also want to thank you to Mayor Mahar and the city government for allowing us to celebrate Eid al-Adha. And next year we're going to be meeting here. If anybody else wants to say something, you're welcome to say it short. Okay, if that is not, then I think we can have some feast. And inshallah, look forward to see you next week. And there are many people who are come here. Thank you so much for coming in such a rainy weather. Okay, and then you know how to say in different languages. In Urdu we say it Eid Mubarak. In Farsi we say Eid al-Shuma Mubarak, which is similar. In Arabic, Qul laham wa antum bakhair. And in Malaysian language, Salamat Hari Raya Idul Adha. So Bengali, I don't know how to say in Bengali, but there are so many different ways we can greet each other. And I must like to make a small request. Try to find somebody here whom you have never met before, at least 5 of them. Introduce yourself so that you know we can enlarge our community, getting to know each other more and more. And thank you so much for coming. So let's begin the first. Thank you so much for coming.